Okay, so Daf Chof Daled Sotah Yerushalmi Daf Chof Daled Amud Aleph, and we're on the second line. Masnid Masayel Rav. A Mishnah is a raya to Rav. Rav had learned that we had said in the Mishnah, when Rav Kiva said in the Mishnah that Sheni is a Shlishi, Rav had said that it applies also in Chulin, which is unusual, uh, which is the Machlekes. Sorry. So he says, "Masni v'sayil Rav, horish shebechulin tamei umetamei v'asheni poisel v'loy metamei v'shlishi nechal benazid hadema halos hadema azas." So he says that. So we have a rishon. So it says a rishon shebechulin is tamei metames truma. We're talking about over here truma. David sheni lives also shlishi. Truma can be made sheni, and it will it makes right avle sheni lifsos shlishi. You can make so sheni, then becomes a shlishi. Sheni shebechulin paislas hatruma. I'm reading from the carbonate. I'm going to do that periodically. I found this to be a little bit of a difficult daf. Sheni zuk the carbonate. Sheni shebechulin paislas hatruma vein metama. The shlishi the truma leiv ovid revi'i. So sheni passes truma, but it's not metama. The shlishi truma leiv ovid revi'i. Now there's a rule that we find in terminology in Tumen Tahira. Look at shlishi shebetruma pasul mekri v'loy tame. When the word pasul is used, it indicates that's the end of the line for the tumen. This item cannot be metama, cannot go and turn and be metama something else. Mashenkin, the word tame is used. Tame indicates that it could go and turn and be metama something else. Fine. So now we said v'ashlishi shel chulin nechel b'zidat dema. So now back to what we said over here. So rishon shebechulin tame, it's tame umetame, and it causes tama. V'asheni poisel, however, sheni will passel, right? V'loy metame. It does not is not metame. That was the item that a sheni touches will now become puzzle. Vashlishi nechel benazid hadema. Shlishi shel chulin. And this is the right to Rav. Rav said that it's possible for chulin to become a shlishi. Is nechel benazid hadema. That means the carbonator says it's like you have a serving of a cholent, let's say, and you have some spices in it that are truma. You can eat it even though you're a shlishi. So you can even though it's a shlishi. So now. So the even though it's a shlishi, the Pnei Moshe says that the reason that it's tavlin was talking about because you have less than you don't have a kazayis be'echtechilas pras because it's so little the truma that's in it, that's the tavlin. So then back to the Gemara says Hala says edema as also Hala says edema. In other words, to put truma lekatchila into this into the cholent, as direct truma, that's also. Now, if you're going to tell me that there's no shlishi in chulin, why would it be also to put truma in? Why would that be an issue? Put truma in because there's no shlishi in it. Because there's no shlishi in chulin, so it must be this is the right to Rav that we see that there is a shlishi in chulin. Right? So Gemara says not so quickly. But let's go to the sefer here. Harishon v'asheni shebetruma tamein umetamin. A rishon and a sheni shebetruma tamein umetam will cause tuma. Shlishi poisel v'loy metama. Shlishi in truma will cause tuma. Right, well, I'm sorry, will passel and v'loy metama does not metama. Ravi nochal b'zid hakodesh. If you have a ravi in truma, you can eat it with nezid hakodesh. Now, so the just to go to jump to the Covenant for a minute. I'll ask you from the sefer. So now the Gemara is going to be medayik now. In Tema, back to the Gemara in Tema, kodesh. Also, so you'll say, well, like we said in the Reisha, we said when we said that shlishi, chul and shlishi is nechal and azid dema, we said, but hola, so I say dema to make it, and dema I should note, as the Kabbalah points out, is dema is referring to truma because mlayaschav demacho. That's what comes in the pasuk. So now. Back to Kodesh over here. So let's be Medayik. The Gemara says you want to try to be Medayik, the same thing with Medayik in the Reishish. In Tema, Paula says a Kodesh also, to eat direct Kodesh is also. You told me you only been a Zida Kodesh. What about direct Kodesh is also? Shkachas Meima, Michlef Shitza de Rav. Turns out there's a steer in Rav. The Ma Rabbah B'Shem Rav, because Rabbah said in the name of Rav, Shlishi Bo Machmas HaSheretz, Shlishi, the Varavi, Motala Soisei Kodesh. Shlishi is Baal Machmas Hashem, like we had on the Avchav Gimel Amud Beis, and that is that at full Yom who's a Tamei Sheret, so he went to the mikveh, right? But he didn't have right. He still He didn't have Har Shemesh yet, so it's the same day. So he's mutal chulin, and he's also in truma, right? So now we said that. So we said over here, we had a what a kavachayim of shlishi betruma yalfinu mekavachayim mitfil yoyim. I'm just quoting the carbonated from Daf Chav Gimel and Beis. The time right sha'adam shnag v'shev to rishon, like we said, tevel hotel chulin, right? And so Taval, once he goes to the mikvah hotel chulin, vasa b'truma, afilu liga can't touch truma. The became to me ksib b'mayim yuvav tamed ervitoy. Shaminu the koidim harav shemesh also litin l'toychan truma. So you can't put truma. Truma can't touch it before there's harav shemesh. Sheni shu pasal chulin. Sheni, which is pasal chulin, we know that, right? Sheni, according to everybody, will at minimum pasal chulin. The ksiv kol hashem b'toychi yitma chulin truma v'kachim mashma. So mashma everything. And then she has a shlishi betruma, so that's your kavachayma of shlishi betruma. So we said, so back to the Gemara over here, and what's the Steven Rav over here? So we said, Michel v'shitzit Rav, the Mara Bo b'shem Rav shlishi bo machmas hasheretz, v'ravi. Right, Shlishi, we said, Baal Machmas Hashem, like we just said. Ravi motal asoyisoi kodesh. Ravi can even be made kodesh. Shalom Ravi bekodesh, El bekodesh mikdash and mukdash. And only Ravi, the only Ravi bekodesh that's also is in the kedusha in Kachim in the base Hamikdash. Other than that, all other kodesh is mutar Ravi. So here, if it's true that you're telling me that for some reason that you can't put that you can't make a riba kodesh, that's a steer in Rav. So obviously that's not we can't. So in other words, the ratio that we had originally brought right to Rav, that was only through a diak, because we said hala so dema the truma itself with a shlishi is also turns out that might not be true. So we're going to have a right to Rav. Amar Rav Chuna v'loy b'truma and kayamin. Rav Chuna says, no, it's not true. It could still be right to Rav, but Kodesh is different. Why is Kodesh different? So Kodesh is different. Truma and Kodesh have a different. The relationship is different. What's the issue? The issue over there isn't necessarily Tumah. In other words, the reason that we said Haravi, right, that Ravi is mutalas, that we said that Ravi is Noichel ben Zid HaKodesh, and we didn't say Kodesh directly, is because Truma you're not allowed to make into Kodesh. Why? Because there are many things that are that are going to cause a loss to the Truma, that becomes possible. Going Yaitse, so if you eat it in the wrong place, was man, right? You have a kachim that you can only eat in a certain period of time. So those things don't apply to Truma. So if you're mixing Truma and Kodesh, you're going to cause, or very likely you could cause, a loss to the Kodesh. So therefore we said keep them apart. But it could be, in other words, now we're reverting, we're saying that maybe Taka the Reisha is a right to Rav. So the Gemara doesn't give up yet on this. The Gemara says, no, maybe I can still disprove what we said earlier. Let's go further down over there. So we said a Risha and Vasheni. Right, Vashlishi Sheba Kodesh Tamim Matamim. Okay. Ravi Bakodesh, however, Pasul V'loy Matam. Again, Pasul it's the end of the line, V'loy Matam. Chamishi, Noichel Ben Azid HaKodesh. Chamishi, however, Latuma can be eaten Ben Azid HaKodesh. So in Taima Halos say Kodesh, also, if you're going to tell me what Chamishi to make it direct Kodesh, only Ben Azid HaKodesh, but you can make it regular Kodesh, that's also Chiesh Chamishi B'Kodesh. Is there such a thing as Chamishi B'Kodesh? Obviously, nobody holds of Chamishi B'Kodesh, so that can't be. So obviously, that diuk can't be correct. Vatama less kain, v'hocha also less kain. So let's just jump to the carbonated vatama less kain. If the carbonated val kocha learned the bezu ain't a perish kain. Obviously, this can't be the explanation. In other words, you can't make this. You can't infer when it says necha, but is it a kodesh means as opposed to regular kodesh. In other words, he could eat it lekatchila, and in other words, chamishi could be eaten lekatchila with regular kodesh, right? V'hachales kain also. Now, aparesha, going back to the first case we had over here that we tried to bring the right from Rav, it's not a right to Rav. Why? Because again, we said this diak doesn't work. Doesn't mean to say shlishi has only been a zidak dema, but by dema itself, a truma itself, it cannot be eaten. It's not true. We just proved that diak doesn't work. So too over here doesn't work, and therefore, what we're saying is in the Reisha that shlishi could be eaten even with truma directly. Why? It must be because there's no shlishi that there is no shlishi by chulin, and therefore there's nothing wrong with mixing it with truma, and therefore we do not have a raya to Rav. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, hashlishi bo machmas hasheretz, like we said. Umutal asoisei truma. And not only that, you can even make it a truma. Boy kume, afilu Rabbi Kiva. What about according to Rabbi Kiva? Rabbi Kiva says that there's a pasuk, right? He learns it directly out of a pasuk. Rabbi Yosef Hashem Rapila, afilu Rabbi Akiva. He says, no, yeah, he says, even according to Rabbi Kiva, learns it from a pasuk. V'lama, so it's full yoim pasuk, v'asheni pasuk. Mat full yoim in a pasuk. Esachulin. Full yoim pasuk, v'asheni pasuk. So, Till Yom Pasal Sheni Pasal Mat Till Yom Pasal Esachulin Melasoison Truma Afasheni and Pasal Esachulin Melasoison Truma. So we said that even according to Rebbe Kiva, this works. This works even according to Rebbe Kiva. Why? So Tful Yom Pasal Vasheni Pasal. Both Tful Yom and the Sheni, both Pasal, like we saw yesterday. Mat Tful Yom and Pasal Esachulin Melasoison Truma and Madach at Tful Yom doesn't passel chulin. In other words, really, you shouldn't touch chulin. But if you touched it, it's fine. So you can make that chulin. Let's say you want to make the truma, you can still turn it into truma. Af hasheni ein a posel es a chulin will asois truma. Sheni also, someone who's a sheni in chulin also will not passel the chulin for making it truma. Therefore, even according to Rebbe Kiva, learns it directly from a pasuk, right? It's not from the Kal V'chomer, learns directly from the pasuk that Sheni is a Shlishi, but he will agree that Sheni will not passel Chulin from becoming Truma. Rabbi Yossi B'Shem Yochanan says, takes it a step further. Shlishi ba machmas sheretz, and I have to go to change the gears here. Mutal asois Truma, like we just saw. However, v'asal asois kodesh, he's addressing now the issue of kodesh. It's also to make it, it's also to take it to the next step and make it kodesh. Great. The Gemara Reb Zira Boy Kum Reb Yosef. I don't understand. Metama b'kodesh v'atom achin. Again, we're going to carbonated shad over here. It's metama b'kodesh. We know shlishi kodesh becomes a revi. Kodesh becomes a revi. What are you telling me? What are you telling me? Asal asoisei kodesh. Asal asoisei kodesh. It's metama b'kodesh. So metama b'kodesh. So again, Reb Zira Boy Kum Reb Yosef metama b'kodesh v'atom achin, and you're telling me that's asal asoisei kodesh. Amalei Mishum Maila. But he didn't elaborate. So his answer was, it's a Maila. In other words, it sounds like it's some kind of chumrah, as opposed to a real tumah. Amar Shmuel, but Rav Yitzchak elaborates, Ikar tumah by kodesh Mishum Maila. What I meant to say is that tumah by kodesh, of Ravi by kodesh, that is actually only a Maila. Amar Rav Yossi, V'lamu metama by kodesh Mishum Maila? What are you talking about? You're telling me, you're telling me that it's Matama Kodesh because of a Maila? There's a pasuk, let's just see the Carbonade, we'll jump to the Carbonade, V'lama hu Matama Kodesh, Mishum Maila, the Carbonade, Hamikrov, Abbas Shig B'chol Tameh, Lo Yachal Yalav the Rabbi Kodesh Tameh. So we see that it's Tameh. Dom the Shlishim the Raisa Tameh, Im Kain, Kri Kan, Gabe Kodesh, Abbas Shig B'chol Tameh, Lo Yachal. So you can't eat it. So what are you telling me that it's a Maila? Some Rabbi Yudin, so Yudin comes and he gives an answer. Vafilu kirabonon. Do you know I'm an shlishi b'chulin? V'lomo am metama kodesh b'shum ma'ila. Since, and this is the way I understood it, and I based off the Carbonade, and that is that since Rabbi Yochanan made a statement, even according to the Rabbanon, and Rabbanon hold that there is no shlishi by chulin. Right, the Rabbanon argue with Rabbi Kiva, and they hold there's no shlishi by chulin. So since he made a statement even according to Rabbanon, he said mishum meila, because otherwise, why would else? According to Rabbanon, there's no shlishi by chulin. So if there's no shlishi by chulin, so how would this kodesh become tamei? So therefore, he says that it's aser by kodesh because also I say kodesh because it's only a it's mishum meila, but anachanami. If you hold that there's a shlishi like Rebbe Kiva, that there's a shlishi by chulin, so if that's the case, so then it's takanat mishum ma'ila. It's a pasuk. Fine. Amalei Rebbe Yossi says, "Wow, the lesson on tzrichen shamalei and ba'anash Rav. We would have to hear this. Imagine we would not have heard this from such a great person as Rebbe Yudin. In other words, it's a wonderful pshat that he said. Okay." Taman Amrin, they say in Bavel. Oh, remember, Taman in the Yerushalmi refers to Bavel. Mema shekilis Rabbi Yeshua's Rabbi Akiva Hadamro halach ki yotzebayu. From the fact that Rabbi Yeshua praised, right, says Mimi gal often echa, right, in the Mishnah. So he praised Rabbi Akiva Hadamro kol yotzebayu. So it must be that's the halacha. However, abundant the kisna amenu midrasha kilsai. It's a beautiful pshat. You know they like the drush. Avlamai saying halacha ki yotzebayu, but that's not that. That's not actually the halacha. Umar Rav Acher Rav Meir B'Shem Eliezer. This is not necessarily, it says Demar, but the question is which case did you go with? But the way I understood it is this is not connected to what we said a minute ago. Demar, Reb Acha, Reb Meisha, B'Shem Reb Lazo, Loikin ala Shlishi, She B'Maisa. That somebody, and we'll go to the jump to the carbonated for a minute. Harigasin Loikin ala Shlishi, She B'Maisa, Ma'achal Maisa Sheni Shu Shlishi, Loikin Mishum Tuma. So a person ate Maisa Sheni, Shu Shlishi, Latuma, he gets Malkut. And that we base off the pasuk Sivim Ma'aseh Lo B'Aytim Mena B'Tamei. So you can't be tamei. Va'afiluk Rabbi Akiva. Right, Gemara Afiluk Rabbi Akiva. Ein Loikin. Even according to Rabbi Akiva, so Gemara says, Gemara asks on this. You just told me get Malchus, but even according to Rabbi Akiva, Ein Loikin, you don't get Malchus. You know, so, and again, let's just jump to the covenant. If you look at Rabbi Akiva, this Shlishi Minat Torah, like we saw in the Mishnah, Afilachav Ma'aser Sheni Shu Shlishi Ein Loikin, Ein Loikin Olav. Still, he would agree, even though he holds Minatori Yechiyat Mal, right? It is a Shlishi. However, you don't get Malchus. Why? Lamat Fu Yom Paisa, like we saw in Amad Aleph. Asheni Paisa, Mat Fu Yom Ein Lo Maga Eitzalachulin, right? It's not Metamet. Afasheni Lo Maga Eitzalachulin. And therefore, right, so let's just see again, let's see the Rav. Hagitzin Mat Fu Yom Lo Maga Eitzalachulin, like we said earlier, on Amad Aleph. The Ksiv Gabit for Yom Tor V'Tamei. That's actually the limit on sorry Chavkel Elamid Beis. Afasheni Lamage It's Alachulin. Afil Rebbe Kiva the Sevik Shmuel the Ama Betruma Am Rebbe Kiva Avaloi Bechulin. But not in Chulin. So in other words, there's no Shlishi in Chulin. He was only talking according to Shmuel, if you remember Chavkel Elamid Beis, that he was only talking about Truma. So therefore, there's no Malchus. Amr Blazik Keminyan HaChulin Kach Minyan HaMaisa. So let's just see the carbonate of Amr Abelazar Kamino Chulin. Kamosha Ein Moinin Shlishi Bechulin. Kach Ein Moinin Shlishi B'Ma'aser Sheni either. Same way there's no Shlishi in Chulin, no Shlishi B'Ma'aser Sheni. V'Kasha Hod Amr Abacha B'Shem Elazar like no Shlishi B'Ma'aser. So again, so why did he say? So this is a Kasha Bacha B'Shem Abelazar B'Shem Abelazar that he said you get Malchus. You know, V'Asya Kimei Dama. This comes out. Kei Dama Rabbi Yoni Rabbi B'Shem Lakish B'Koel Chulin Anan Kayamin. Vein Pirke Meise Inhun. So let's just jump to the carbon Ada. The Kol Chulin and Kayam in Kol Perik Sheni. The Maseches Taharis Bechulin Shanas Altaris Truma or Altaris Kodesh. We constantly discuss over there in Taharis. We talk about Chulin Shanasa with the Chumra of Taharis. Of Taharis Truma or Taharis Kodesh. Right, that's all sugi over there. If a person watches his chulin, he's very careful with his chulin, that at least a madrega, that it should be, in other if this chulin was truma, you'd be able to eat it with balvi tahira or kodesh. V'ahin pirka ma'iseinun. V'chol ha'perka eloi huskar chulin shenas hataris ma'isa. Never mentions anything about chulin shenas hataris ma'isa. Why? Shema minod shnei minin echad lehem. In other words, chulin and ma'isa the same way, and you don't get malchus. And that's a person's metama chulin doesn't get malchus. If the person's metama ma'aser sheni also does not get malchus. Amar Rabbi Yosi va'afilu rishon shabai in mechova loy seichel going with the carbonate in ksiv kan ela loy yachalti. Let's just jump to the Kabneda. Fil Rishon Shabai Ein Mechava. Filu Ha'Eichel Ma'aser Sheni Shu Rishon Ein Nirishil Ka'alav. Somebody eats Ma'aser Sheni, which is a Rishon Latoma. He doesn't get Malchus. But Kol Shekin Shlishi Zok the Kabneda. Polaka Hodam Rabach B'Shem Elaza. Why? Lo Seichel Ein Ksiv Kan Elo Lo Yichal Tivach Perish. Even Lo Ksiv Lo Seichel Ba'aninus Mimenu. It doesn't say Lo Seichel, which is Mashma Lav. Elo Lo Yichal Tidei Elo Vida. It's saying I didn't do it. I didn't eat Betoma. Ein Kan Lav Elo Yisura Shemina Minei. Same thing. Ain't no lav elavido, and therefore there's no malchus on. It's not a real lav. Omer Baba Mori, Minayin, Dixiv, Kol Mitzvoscha, Shetzi, Visona, Kamisha, in Mechova. So sagt die Carbonade again, Hochasin, Kol Mitzvoscha, Shetzi, Visona, Kamisha, in Mechova, mit Dixiv, Kol Mitzvoscha, Vixiv, Esrei, Lobi Art, Miman, Vitame, Shma Mino, Shemuz, Horin al Kach, Vahin lav. So he argues and he says, no, that it's a real lav. And therefore he's coming to support Rabacha, Reb Moshe Hashem Blazer, and he says, you do get Malchus, because Kol Mitzvoscha, Shetzi, Visona, what you commanding me to do. Kamisha and mechova, no, is this considered not to be mechova? No, and instead we say that he does get malchus. I'll just say I had a hard time with this daf, and therefore I just taken a lot of the carbonada and took a few days to learn it. Called